All right. Welcome to Vikas Web channel. I'm back here again with another video. This time, more of a interview-related task. This was a task that I got when I was applying or looking for a junior position, junior front-end developer job. To be honest, I didn't do this on time, so obviously I didn't continue. But I still wanted to complete it, so I did it. The question asked at that time was to build a front-end bird watching application. So let's say if you are in a forest or somewhere where there are a lot of birds, whenever you spot any of those birds, then you write the name of it, you give a little bit of description, and then in the task it was given three types. So one was common, another was rare, and then another was extremely rare. So I had to also tag in which category the bird belonged, and then it also required that I need to set a timestamp every time I post the information, and so that the list will be filtered according to timestamp, and then obviously I can delete it. So pretty identical to any to-do application. So this was what I built at that time. So I could write the name, let's say test, and then I could keep some information here, and then there are these three rarity types. So I can select one of them, and then I can save, and then obviously I could just write the name, but I wanted to go extra step, and I also wanted to give a different color code. So if you choose rare, then it's yellow; if you choose common, then it's green, and so on. And obviously I also added moment.js, because at that time, at that point, I was so excited about, wow, this is moment, and it does pretty amazing job with a timestamp. So although it was not necessary or it wasn't required in that task, but I also implemented it because it's pretty simple, and I will show you how to do that. And then you can remove it, and then it gets removed from the list. And then obviously if you refresh it, it is also stored in local storage. So technically you can use this application even in your phone and such, and until and unless you clear your cache, it will still stay there. So pretty nice, almost identical to any to-do application. But the good thing about doing this kind of applications is you will actually learn how to handle a list, how to deal with array, how to modify them, how to remove them, and so on. Although in this assignment I have only removed, but you can go extra mile. Actually I wish that after watching this video you will do that. So you can also have a button called edit or modify, and then you can actually modify it, and then you can save it, and it will save it. So if you can do that, and if you can share with me, I would be really happy, because that's all this channel is about. It's not just that you are following me blindly, but you are also doing extra steps. So if all this sounds interesting, then please smash that like button. And if you are new to this channel, and if you enjoy this kind of content, subscribe to my channel, because probably I will also convert this same application with backend, so that a little bit of mod stack kind of thing. But for this video, I will be only focusing on front end. With that being said, let's start the video. All right, so I have here an empty React application which I created just using create React application. Obviously, I'm using TypeScript. I don't know why, but somehow I nowadays do everything in TypeScript, even if I don't make a proper use of types. And I'm also thinking of making a very basic TypeScript video. Probably I will do it in a week or two. So if you are looking for it, you can definitely also subscribe my channel if you haven't already. The React application looks pretty simple. So all I have done here is I have cleaned up and deleted every other unnecessary thing. So I just have index, app, and then app CSS. And also I did a little bit extra things. So basically I just went to this project here, and then I copied some, not all, but some of the basic CSS. So I have some color with root, and then I have some CSS reset here. I have also imported a font from Google font Poppins with a few 400, 500, 600 few font weight, and then I have also given the root font size. And then I have given body color and all this, and then our application is text align center, and basically that's all. So I will be almost using the same design. Let's see if something else come up. So we have to design this, and how I would like to proceed is, you see, React is all about components. So I can totally see that at least we can create a car component. Okay, that's one thing. And any other component? Probably not. So we have buttons and we have also buttons. So there is a primary button and then there is a secondary button, at least for that. And then we have primary color, and then we are using the same color here. And then we have this dark black color, and then we have gray color. And then we have also this extreme or rarity type color. So how should we proceed? Okay, so the first thing, let's have this logo and then this button. Okay, and then we will render the cards. And if I remember correctly, when we click this, it will open the input field. Okay, and then when we do close, it will hide it. So there is some sort of UI going on, and everything else is pushed back down. So how to approach this? This is always a nice thing of thinking process. So we have form, name, info, and then we are also taking timestamp. All right, so let's go inside the application, and then here I will create a component. Let's just make a file. So components, and then that will be let's say boardcard.tsx. all right, so that's our component, and rafc. Okay, so we have a board card, and that's all good. So this is all we need for now. Obviously we'll talk about props and everything later. So everything else we will do in our application, why not? And then first thing first, I would like to divide. So if we go here, so we have a board was. So first thing, we have a logo. Okay, so let's give it a logo, and the logo can be S2, and we can call it board was application, and that should be all good. The next thing is our input field. Okay, so for that we have a button here. We need to do some conditional rendering, so we need a state. Okay, so let's go here and let's create a state, and the state will be using our use state. So let's call is form open, and then set is form open. All right, and this will be our React use state, and initially it will be false. Okay, so we need that because based on that we will render our button, or let's go to our button here and then add, what do we have here? Let's close this. Okay, add a board info. So we have add a board info. This is a button, and we will give the class and everything later. And then let's say we have a form, and then inside a form, for now let's just say let's test it out. Okay, so now let's do a conditional render. So is form open. If we have is form open, then we don't want to show this button because we want to show the form, right? So then we will show no, actually that will be a little bit if we don't have is form open. So let's do like that, and then let's copy it, and then if we have that situation, then we do that. Otherwise, so the opposite of it is form open. If we have this, then we will render all our form here. Okay, if we need to wrap it inside a div or something, then we will do it later. So that's all. And then in the bottom, let's go and let's add on click. Okay, so what we can do here, let's create a arrow function inside. So all it does is because we want to add a board info, so we want to open the form. So what we should do, we should set is, so basically we have this setter function. So let's copy this, and then here inside we will do true. That's it. That's all we need to do. So now let's go and let's see what is happening here. So we have add board info, and when I click it, you see, we see that let's test it out, which is actually a form. So basically it's basically the same thing. And then when we close, it will close. Okay, so inside our form here, I will give it an ID. Do I need it? I'm not so sure, but let's just give it It always sounds nice. And then let's give it a class name. So I will just give it a class name of form. I think that's enough. Another way we can also try is just like give some property display none or such, and that way when we are toggling this, instead of doing this, we can just have some toggle so and not so, and then that way it will just hide it with CSS rather than conditional rendering. But this works good for us, so we don't need that, and that's all we need for the form styling. So let's go inside our form application, and then I'm going back here because this is more like for my, okay, so we have name, info, and okay, so let's go and let's create a form group. So it will be our form group. I always do that. That way we can have label, and it can be name. Okay, so the first thing is name, and then the second thing, obviously, input, and input type is text, and then let's just write required. And then what else do we want to like, let's have a placeholder. Do we have something there, species name, or we can just write board. Let's just follow that species name, and I think that's good. I think let's give it a name. Okay, so the name is name, and then I'm duplicating it. I'm just using alt and duplicating. So we have a name here, and that can be changed into info, and type can be still text. And then no, actually let's just change this to text area, and okay, like that. And when we are doing text area, we don't need that. And then give some information, and the name can be info. All right, that's good. And then what else we need? Okay, so we also need select the rarity type. All right, so let's go and let's do that. We have now all this rarity type, basically almost everything we needed we have, and then we can also handle close here. Actually, let's go here, and we have form buttons, and that is inside our form field here. So I would like to actually copy this so that we can give similar style. So not inside form, outside here. So I have just transferred the position, and then I will actually copy this, and then here I will have a div here, and then I can copy this. Okay, so I think that's pretty much about it. I'm not so sure. Okay, so I think I would like to also give the same class name, and that should be good. Okay, so this way, and now we can go here in close, so we can copy this, and then okay, we have input type receipt. I don't know why I did that. I can also change this. Let's just copy this button here, and then let's have it here. Okay, and then I can just write it false here, and then I can do close. And I think this button is not CTA. This is just a normal button. So now let's see what happens. Okay, if I close it, it closes, it opens, it closes, it opens. That's good. Okay, so I copied everything, all the CSS from my previous project, and I will obviously put this in the description. All this GitHub link will be there, so you don't need to worry. You can, well, this button is flying around, so let's go and fix that, because here at least we don't have the button flying around, and that can be because of the container. So the maximum width of this form class is this. So let's just go here and let's add the same class also here. So let's just wrap, and that we can do Okay, that should not be like that. And then if I just take it here, now I think, oh, it's still from, not from, sorry guys, it's from. Okay, now we have this working pretty good. So the next thing we want to handle is we want to handle the saving option. So but before that, let's go and let's create a card. So let's go here and let's have a card. So we have this card, and then we already have board card component here, and that's good. I have the layout of board card completed here. I just paused the video and I just did all this quickly because I wanted to inline it everything with what I already have it from my previous project. And again, the link is in the description, you can go and check it out. So let's go to our application here, and then let's import our so let's import board card from component, and that's all good. And then okay, so we have our main application. So this is the div. So we want to have board list items. So this is where we want to have a board list item. Here all I need is to create something called board list, and then inside board list I just need to have a, sorry, not that. Inside board list all I need is board card. Okay, now if we go here, you can see we have the name, and also that we definitely don't have rarity type, and the note is note. So what happened to our rarity type? Let's go here and rarity type. Okay, let's give it common. Okay, so we have rarity type common. Obviously we don't have color code and everything because we want to do that dynamically. All right, so after having this, what we need to do, first thing first, let's go and let's install moment. So and add moment, and as I said, it's not mandatory that you want to do that, but I just did it for fun, and I'm showing you also to do it for fun. Now we have all this, so let's create board list data. So that will be an array. Again, we will be using the same state from React use state, and that's all we want. And then also let's go and define the types. So we can define types here, I guess. Okay, so that's all we need. And then here we can, all right, so that way here we can have board list and then set board list. We can also do the looping here, but let's do that a little bit later. So now actually we can even export this type. Why? Because we want this here. Yep. Okay, so let's import that type from there. Import. Okay, so that will be board data type. We are importing from there, and then here let's have a type called board card props. Actually we can do interface board that extends, so we want everything that it has. And then we have also on remove, and that will be function. So that's all we need here. And then here what we can do is, so here we can give board card props, and that way here we can take everything we want. We can take name, we can take info, we can take date, we can take also rarity, and then we can take on remove. And now with that we can go here and then we can give this a name, and just like that, and all it does, okay, so on click will do it will, okay, we need also an ID, so let's give it an ID, and that can be number for now. So okay, so let's also take ID here, and then we can do on remove, and then we can pass the ID. So here we can use our moment library, so that will be moment, and obviously we need to import moment first. Okay, so we have moment, and now if we do moment dot, and then actually we need to give the date, so that will be the date that we will be passing. Dot, we want to do from now, and I think that's enough because that will automatically solve the problem. So we have all these, and obviously we will be getting warning, and that is because we have not sent anything in this data. And for that, let's go to our board list from here. Okay, and then so what we can do, okay, so we can send it board list dot map, and if we have board list, obviously we will do board list dot map, and then we will get board, or I don't know, we can say that. And then inside here, all we need to do, we need to loop, and then it will always warn us key, and we need the key as board.id, and obviously we don't have ID here, so let's go here and then let's do ID as number. And if we do that ID as number, actually we don't need it from here because we are already passing ID from there. So we have board.id, and then we are also passing, and we are also passing everything from board, and it is still requiring on remove. And this on remove, we will create a function here, and so that will be handle remove function, and then handle remove, it will require ID, that will be a number, and for now we will just console log the remove ID, and then it will be ID, and we have to pass the error function. So this is a function that we are calling from our children element. So for now we just have a handle remove. This should be enough, and obviously we will not have anything in the beginning, and that's okay because our board list is empty as we do the save. So if we go here somewhere in the close, and then we have save here, so let's go on click, we can handle save. So let's go and let's create this first of all here. So handle save data, okay, so we have also handle save, we have remove and everything. So all we need to now handle is handle all these rarity type and everything. So let's go. So handle input data, input change, and then give this here, and not only there, we can use the same thing also to our text area. Can we use that in text area? Okay, so we also need this. I guess it's because of type issue, so we have React change that, or we need to also pass React. Okay, so now we have both HTML text area and that, and I think with that we can get also that. And then the last thing will be our this, what is it, our radio button or radio input, so that will also will handle. But other than that, if we go now and then if I refresh this page, if we go to it now, when I type, now you see, well, something we have to change that something to name. But if I type something here, then it is saying that it is info field. Okay, so now we have those two, and let's give this a name. And then the last thing we have to handle is this radio button. Since this is also an input type, so what we can do, we can actually go and have on change, and then we can do handle input change. I think that's good. So we have the name rarity, and this is also the name rarity. And then, okay, so let's go here. That's common, and that's common. Are we missing something? We have extremely rare, we have common. Okay, we have also rare here. So let's go. And now if you check it here, if I click this, you see the rarity and we give the value. And then if I check it, we give the rare, and if we do, we give the common value. All that's good. Let's go to this extremely rare, and let's do a little bit of modification here. So instead of this one, I'll just type this one. Okay, now we have all this sorted out. So all we need to do, okay, so we have board list data. Similarly, we also need a single board data, and that is because you see we are only saving some data per one field, one per one board. Okay, so let's go here, and then all we can do is we can just do the same thing, single board data. We don't need even data, set single board, and that can be React use state. So we have a board data type, and that's all good. So let's have here something like that. Math dot random. Here we can have 1000. The reason is we want this ID to be random. Even better if we use some other UUID or something. In real life case, backend will generate ID from database or somewhere, but for our purpose this is good. I hope when we are doing random from 1 to 1000 we will get something unique. If not, we'll see. Okay, and then the next thing we want is name, and that we can put empty, and then we have info, that's empty, and then we have rarity, and rarity can be for example common by default. And what else do we need? Date, and that can be new date. Number is not assignable to date. Okay, you know what, we can just go here, and here we can do type of date. And does that solve problem? It does not. Okay, so is this a string? No, it's a number. Okay, so let's go and let's do a number, and let's have a date now. So what I'm doing is I'm creating an initial state, so we'll get a date now, and then we are also getting random ID, but other things are kind of empty here. So now what we can do is inside handle input change, so that's our post data. So what we can do, we can have a single board that will be whatever we have from here, and then now we have to, then we can also give it as any. The reason is whenever we are getting data from input field, our React TypeScript can be confused because it can get anything else than what defined here. So that's why now if we go to our single board, and then here we will do event.target.name. So whatever the target now is, it will get event.target.value. So what this means is, when the event.target.name will be, in our case the first case is name, so it will dot single board dot name, and then it will update the value of that value. So you have already seen from here. So the same logic is working here, and then all I need to do is set single board, and then I need to add the single board with this. So with that, I hope we are all good. And then the last thing is handle save. So all we need to do handle save is let's create a temporary board list, and that will be whatever we have from our board list. What it says. Okay. So if I do like that, okay, so we have board list, and that's an array, and then all I need to do is board list.push. So whatever we will have in our single board at that time, we want to push that, and then we want to do set board list, and that will be set with board list. Okay, so I think we have everything sorted out. Let's see, let's go here, let's write the name test board, give info, and then let's select it rare. If I save it, okay, so we are saving it. However, you can see that our page got refreshed, and I think that is because prevent default. Okay, so the E is not defined. We can give E as any, so that way I think now when I go here and I do test and I do some data, and when I save it again, it's okay. So we have e.prevent default, and now it actually saves it. So when I go here, when I click it, I give something, I type rare, you see there is rare, and obviously it shows also ID to remove 502. That's good. So let's handle the caller here, and then let's handle remove. Okay, so first let's handle removing. So we have ID of the data to be removed. So all we need to do, we need to either we can use splice, or I usually use filter. So what we can do is we can create a new filter, a new board list, and that board list will be everything as this. We filter, we have board, and then board.id is not equals to the ID that we gave. So we create a new board list array by filtering our the main board list array, where we will return everything else except the ID that we are providing to, so that that array or that object will not be there. Okay, so after that we just need to do it set board list, and then we do board list like that. So, and then obviously if we want to also add the confirmation like we had in our demo application. So if you go here in our demo application, when you are removing, we have also this confirmation. So let's go and let's also try to add the confirmation there. Instead of directly clicking on click here, what we can perform is we can have a JavaScript here if, and then we can do window dot confirm, and we can ask, are you sure you want to delete this? And then if they say yes, in that case we then only want to we want to proceed with. That's good. So here something is missing, and that's, I guess, okay, let's go now. Okay, so we can refresh this, So let's add something here, and then that will be extremely rare. And when you remove, it asks, do you want to remove? If you do okay, it removes. Perfect. So we still have two things from our here. So the one is this color. Okay, let's go and fix. And then another is having the data persistent with local storage. So let's go to board card, and then here in board card we have rarity type, and I think all I need to do here is just give a rarity. And then if I add something here, yes, I have this, and if I go here I have common, and if I go there then I have, obviously you can see that if I continue adding for the same, it always creates this warnings that we have the same ID repeated. It's because we are just creating ID here in the first place, but not doing anything here. So what we can do is we can actually copy this, and then every time when we are saving the data, so what we can actually handle input change. So every time we do the handle save, here instead of pushing this, what we can do is we can do like that. So basically everything that we have, however ID we can modify it, so that way. And now if I refresh this, I have this data here, and first I select, we get this, and if I just change this and save it, we are not getting the warning anymore, because every time we use handle save, it always generates new ID. So that way we will not have that initial ID from that we started in our initial state. The last thing we want to handle is having the data persistent. Here if we refresh, it's all gone. So what we can do, we can also save it in local storage. So and we can create a function. So let's create a function here, save item to local storage. Obviously we can directly write local storage.set item there, but always the function way is better. So let's just say store to local storage, and then what we want data, and we can even give data type if we want. So that will be board list type. So that's the data, and then all it does, it just says local storage dot set item, and we can give board data, and then that will be JSON dot stringify of data we are passing. Okay, so that's all good. And then all we can do is we can call this data here. Okay, so here we can just then pass our board list. So that's all. Now the data should be all the time storing to local storage. However, when we refresh the page, we want to also get the data. So somewhere here, let's say get data from local storage. I don't know why it's went to capital. So get data from local, and that we don't need to do anything. All we want is we can have a single arrow function, so it will automatically return. And then here we can have local storage, and then get items, and the name of the item was board data. Okay, and are we having a problem here? Okay, so we are having a problem. Either this we want to press, or let's give. Okay, we can modify this in a little bit different way. So let's just give here. So if so we want this, so that is only if we have this. If we have this, there is some problem here. Okay, If we have bought that, then we just want to return let data from, let's just say let data. This is the problem with TypeScript, that it wants to make sure that everything is in order. Now I'm sure, look, this will solve this problem because I have experienced this multiple times. So if we have this data, then all we want is this data, and now you can see that it's already working. So we have okay, I just need to remove that. So we are returning else we can return an empty array. Okay, so now let's take this. So every time when we have use effect, so every time our page reloads, let's just have empty bracket here. That means every time the page reloads, all we want is const data is get data from local. Okay, that is a function. And if we have data, okay, and well, else let's return it null. Okay, so if we have data, then what we can do, all we can do is set board list, and that will be with data. Okay, so that's all we want. So every time our page refreshes, this React use effect loads. Obviously, if we pass some dependencies, then it will also load when the dependency changes, but we don't need that. So now if we save this, let's go back here and let's refresh. We don't have anything. Obviously, we can also go to our application here and see in local storage we have users but nothing else. So let's go here, let's type board name test, and that's common. Let's save. So we have common, and you can see we have about data. And then if I refresh it, you see we have still the board data. And now if you add another board name, and then you can give some example info, and let's say this one is extremely rare, you save, and then we have extremely rare. Now if you refresh, a few seconds ago this one, and then also we have this one, and that's good. All right, so you can see this was added a minute ago and this was added a few seconds ago. And if I add another here, and then if I do this, you can see that went to the last. This I think we are almost done. There are still few things that we can do. So the first one I would like you to do is just modify this name or some data. So instead of just having this remove and removing, you can also modify. So you can add a save button there, and when you do the save, so it can be similar to this. So instead of having a long remove here, you can have remove and save, similar thing here. And then when you modify it, it can go back to the text, and then you can modify it and you can save it. That's one thing. And another, you see in this assignment, every time you add a new thing, so if I go to refresh, okay, so 2 hours ago, and if I add something here, if I save it, okay, it's common. If I save it, the one that we add latest always stays on top. Please feel free to sort this out so that the latest one, whatever you will add, will be on top. Additionally, you can also have some sorting here so that you can sort by latest or by name or something, but that's up to you to do that. And probably in future, I will also continue the same application and attach it to backend with probably MongoDB and node or something, so that we will have some sort of mon application. That's what a lot of you are requesting. So if you want me to do a mon project using this, then please like this video and comment it out. And if I see a lot of people are commenting there, then obviously I will make another video. With that, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you learn something from this video, and it can be also one of your portfolio project in your junior React developer or front-end developers portfolio site. Thank you so much once again. Feel free to hit the like button if you are new to this channel, and if you enjoy the content, remember to subscribe and also hit that bell icon, so that whenever I upload new video, you will be the first one to get notified. With that being said, thank you so much. Have a nice time coding. I will see you next video. Bye bye.